Welcome back to Math Vaathiyaar. In this video, we will be taking a look at natural numbers, which is the first type of number on our list. So without further ado, let's get into this lecture. Okay, so on the whiteboard here, I've written some important facts about natural numbers. I've also given the criteria for determining or deciding whether a given number is a natural number or not. So let's take a look at that first. So natural numbers. Natural numbers are numbers that are positive. So that is the first thing. You have to make sure that the number is a positive number, or that the number is to the right of 0 on a number line, or that is greater than 0. And it must contain value. So what do I mean by these two things? Here, look at what I've written here. When x, so let x represent any number, when x is less than or equal to 0, that number is not a natural number. And why do I say this? Think about it. A number that is less than 0 would be a negative number. So numbers such as -1, -4, -25, they're all negative numbers. And although they do contain value, so when you're checking off or when you're looking at the checklist for determining whether a number is a natural number or not, you'll think, you'll look, okay, it does contain value, it has value. You know that a negative number or -25 is a number below 0, and you know that it has some value to it. Like, for example, if I were to tell you that the temperature outside is -25 degrees Celsius, you'll know that it is cold outside, and you will wear clothing appropriate to it before you leave the home or before you leave your home. And it contains value, but look at the first thing on our list. Is it a positive number? Is -25 a positive number? Is it a number that is greater than 0, or a number that exists to the right side of 0 on a number line? No. It's a negative number. It's on the left side of 0. It's less than 0. That is why we have a negative sign before the number. So you know immediately that negative numbers are not natural numbers. Now, why do I say that 0 is not a natural number? 0 is not a negative number. Well, you are correct on that. But does 0 have any value attached to it? Think about it. If I were to tell you that I have $0 in my bank account, or that I have 0 chocolate bars in my bag, what does that mean? I have nothing. I don't have any chocolate bars. I don't have any money in my bank account. You are assigning a value for nothing. That is what 0 is. So 0 does not contain value. Therefore, you immediately know that this number is not a natural number. So these are two sort of things that you must look at to determine whether a number is a natural number or not. If it passes these two, if your number is a positive number and a number that contains value, you have to look at the third thing on our list, which is the next thing that we're going to cover. And this is the most important one. So listen to what I have to say now. Whole numbers. So natural numbers are whole numbers. So we'll talk a bit about, or we'll go into whole numbers in a bit more detail in the next video. But whole numbers are numbers that do not consist of any fractional part or decimal points. So what do I mean by that? Think about this. We covered mixed fractions in an earlier video. This is 2 halves. So we have a mixed fraction. We have a whole number and we have a fraction here. Is this a whole number? Think about it. Does it consist or does it not consist of any fractional part or decimal points? You have a fractional part. You have a whole number along with a whole number along with a fraction. So you know that this is not a, let me just write it here, whole number. What about 1.25? Is this a whole number? No. But think about it. Is this a natural number? Now, let's answer that question. It's positive. This number is positive. Yes, it does contain value. 1.25 has value. But does it pass or is it also, is the third thing that we're looking at also present in this number? Is it a whole number? 1.25. No, it contains decimal points. So therefore, this is not a natural number nor a whole number. So it's not a natural or whole number. I'm not sure if you can see that. Yes, okay. So if it's not a natural number, it's obviously not, it could be a whole number, because it could either be a negative number that you are looking at or a number that does not contain value, such as 0. Like I said, 2/2. Is this a natural number? No, because it's positive. It passes our, we can check this one off. It contains value, but is it a whole number? No, because it does not consist, or because it does consist of a fractional part, which in this case is the half. So what about this one? Let's just say your teacher on a test or a quiz asks you to determine whether this number 15.000, for example, 15.00000, let me write it up here because I don't know if you can see it. 15.0000000 is a natural number. Now what will you think? Okay, it's positive, it contains value, but it has decimal points. So you will think immediately that, okay, this is not a natural number. So, and you will answer as this is not a natural number. But think about it. If it's 0, there's no value. Remember how I told you earlier? 0 is just a way of representing nothing, or nothing in value, or that you have nothing. So you know that these decimals are there for the sake of adding decimals, but they don't represent any value for this number. So it is safe to say that 15.000000 is equal to 15. And is 15 a natural number? Think about it. It's positive, it contains value, and it does not consist of any fractional part or decimal points, unlike these two numbers that we covered earlier. Therefore, 15.000000 is a natural number, because it can also be written as 15, and 15 is a whole number, and therefore 15 is a natural number. So I hope you understood this lecture, or what I taught to you in this lecture. And this is the criteria for determining whether a given number is a natural number or not. And let's get to the first thing that I promised I would tell you at the end of this video. Natural numbers are also known as counting numbers. Now, what do I mean by that? What numbers do we use when counting things? For example, I have a certain number of chocolate bars lying on top of my bed. How would I count it? I would say, or I would count it by saying 1 chocolate bar, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would use these whole numbers. And notice how I started from 1. I didn't say 0. And I went to the next number by skipping the middle, or what's in between 1 and 2. The decimal numbers, 1.25. For example, if your friend is, if you're trying to see who can stay underwater longer, you and your friend will usually count each other. And most of the time you would say 1, you will count by saying 1, 2, 3, 4, unless you want to irritate your friend or make your friend seem like he stayed underwater, or he or she stayed underwater for a less amount of time. You might say 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. That's a different story. But usually when we count things, like I counted the chocolate bar earlier, we would count by saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We wouldn't start at 0 usually. We'll start directly from 1, and we'll go to the next whole number that is greater than 1, which is 2, and then 3, then 4, then 5. And if you recall the definition for natural numbers, or what the criteria for determining or deciding whether a number is a natural number or not, wouldn't it be safe to say that counting numbers and natural numbers are the same? Think about it. Examples of natural numbers include 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 600, 700, 800. All these numbers are positive, they contain value, and they do not consist of any fractional part or decimal points. They're whole numbers. So that is why natural numbers are also known as counting numbers. So when you are asked to list a few natural numbers, you can just think of the numbers that you use to count things. 1, 2, 3, all whole numbers will come into that, and positive whole numbers, except 0. Think about it. When you start counting things, you don't count from 0, because 0 means you have nothing. You count directly, or you start from 1 and then you go onwards, upwards, I should say. So this concludes my lecture on natural numbers. It was a long lecture, but I hope it was informative for all of you. Thank you very much. We'll meet again in the next video. Math Vaathiyaar will return for our next lecture. Thank you very much.